Georgia, how excited are you for tonight's event?
I am so excited. This is such a big deal. This is the
Oh,
official launch of our beautiful book, A Field Guide to the Heart, and I
I
am
know.
excited. I
We're
mean,
so excited.
we've been reading from it and we've been talking about it, but this is, I guess, the official launch. So, welcome everybody,
Oh,
and
hi, Bev.
we're so glad to be here.
Yes, I know. It's so exciting that this is finally happening. Get to launch a field guide to the heart, poems of love, comfort, and hope. And thanks to everybody who's joined in now or is going to join in or who has got their copy, like in the comment section. So that's great. So I'll just start by introducing the event and George and Rebecca. So tonight we're joined with authors George and Rebecca. They're going to be reading some poems featured in a field guide to the heart, kind of discuss the inspiration behind the book, their writing process, what that looked like, and why it's such an effective part poetry, part journaling book. And I'd like to start by introducing Georgia to you all. Georgia was the editor of The Woman in This Poem by Plumleaf Press. Her most recent book is My Thoughts Are Clouds, Poems for Mindfulness. And Georgia's poems and essays have been published in many magazines and journals, and she gives poetry workshops and keynotes on writing all across the country and the world. So that's Georgia for you. And we also have Rebecca Kai Dotlich here with us. Of course, Rebecca is a children's poet and picture book author. She's written many children's books, including the Knowing Book. Her poetry has appeared in many magazines, periodicals, and she gives poetry workshops to teachers and students across the country, too. So we're so excited to have you guys all here tonight for tonight's event. Feel free to ask Georgia and Rebecca any questions throughout the event, and they'll try to answer them for you. And later on, we'll also be announcing the winners of our book giveaways, so stay tuned for that. And if there's not anything else, I'll hand things over to Georgia and Rebecca to kick things off.
Thanks so much, Sophia. No
Thank you, and welcome
problem.
everybody. We're so
Hi. Hi, everybody.
So Rebecca and I, some of you know the story of how we started a field guide to the heart. It was really born out of in the middle of COVID when we were in lockdown and we were feeling isolated and also just lonely. And for a lot of writers and artists, it was a time where we were just kind of silent and we felt like it was very hard to write. So Rebecca and I started to email back and forth and give each other these kind of crazy prompts. And we would have to send a new poem, a new piece of writing to each other by Friday at a certain time. And that kind of deadline and that kind of inspiration and knowing that somebody was on the other side of the country ready to listen really helped, I think, my writing process during that time. So the book was born out of friendship and love and kind of a sense of that we have to do something in order to get our voices back.
And somehow we needed, as we all did, some kind of comfort that being alone just, you couldn't get. And everybody was going through lockdown in a different way. And it kind of began for me when my parents were in lockdown in a facility, and I couldn't see them. And I remember the first time, I think that this book in a way was born. The first poem was that I had made cookies and took them over, but I had to leave them at the door. I couldn't see my parents. And I told Georgia about it, and she said, that has to be, you need to write a poem about that. And then I did, and then we thought, this is kind of good. This is getting our feelings out, It was how I felt to leave those cookies but not be able to see them. And so that's kind of how we started. And then we started throwing out not only prompts, but ideas and different topics. And I see that Robin says something about lots of people are still isolated and some in lockdown. Yeah, I unfortunately I'm sure there are. I hope not too many at this point, and I know assisted livings and memory cares, most legally are open now. But I feel bad for anybody who, of course, can't see family right now for any reason. Maybe, maybe somebody's not vaccinated or somebody's sick. So we still feel very sad all the time about this, as all of you do. Yeah.
But and another comment was, it sounds like a great resource to teach my grade fours about poetry writing. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. One of the interesting
Yes.
of this book is that we started out just as a poetry book. And then we started talking with the editor and with each other about including a section for reflections. So it's both a poetry book as well as a journal. And one of the most powerful ways, I think, to start writing, at least for me, for my writing process, and for when I teach writing also, is to, as Penny Kittle says, to walk alongside, to write alongside and walk alongside another poem. So you read a poem and you're inspired by the images, but even if you took the first line or the title or a word or an image that inspires you, and then right alongside of it, what does it make you think of? What does it make you feel? And so often my poems come from reading other poems. So we wanted to give an opportunity for people to actually have a chance to write in the book and not
A
just,
space,
oh,
right?
so, and I know a lot of people have said, oh, the book is so beautiful and I don't want to write in it. Well, that is true, but your words are also just as beautiful as this book. Remember that. So,
That's right. And we'd like to tell you that so many of our poems went through most of them, many revisions. And sometimes it takes another set of eyes to look at your poem, or sometimes you just have to let it sit for a while. But the other thing I would like to add about all the journaling pages is that for me, it's sometimes hard for me to take a beautiful book and to first start writing in it because we're not used to that. And so I have to kind of wait for a while. And then the very first time I give permission to write in it my reflection or my, a memory or something, then I'm okay. Then I can keep going. But at first it's hard to write in that book. And
it's,
Georgia, you had an idea about that, how you do it.
well, sometimes, I can take another piece of paper and put it in there, like, and
Yeah.
in there, or just, you can see I fill my books with papers and ideas and little, like, I have so many post-it notes here at
Yeah.
my, so one of the poems, for instance, that would be great, just in this example, is I love Rebecca's poem, Five Small Things to Do to Chase Away the Blues. And let me read it, and then we can talk about, maybe an inspiration from there um, for the reflection pages. Five small things to do to chase away the blues. Sing so the birds will know you. Ring silent bells. String beads of rain. Tell secrets to clouds. Write poems to plums.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've done and that you can do yourself, or if you teach writing, poetry writing, is ask your students to make a list of five small things that they could do to chase away sadness or the blues or to bring happiness. And I love how specific this poem is, Rebecca. Sing so the birds will know you. That's just gorgeous. It's not just,
Thank you.
or watch TV. It's like these amazingly beautiful lines, string beads of rain. They're kind of a box.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I would love other people, either adult writers or children writers, to think, like you say, outside of the box and kind of come up with something, maybe two things together that don't even make sense. Like, you cannot really string beads of rain, but the magic of it and the possibility of it, that's what makes it, so wonderful and poetic and joyful. It's like, oh, what what's something else like that that could make me feel just a moment of happiness, even if that could be true. And I would like to read a poem of George's. This is one of my very favorites. And it's called What Will Survive Us? My 93-year-old mother asks, what will survive us? Does she mean when the world ends or when we end? I close my eyes and imagine what I would miss when we're no longer here to name the things I love in this world. White lilacs, peonies in a chipped vase, honeybees, a blue teapot with a bamboo handle, a faded photo of an old friend, summer dresses and a red scarf, moonlight paving a dirt path, letters sent and forgotten, a 1,000-piece puzzle of the blue earth with pieces missing. I think that is so beautiful.
Thank you, Rebecca. And you know, it's interesting that when we read poetry, especially when somebody else reads, or two different people read a poem, you take it in a different way. So I've never heard that poem read out loud, but it was
Oh,
really is it's beautiful that you did that. And I mean, if I were also journaling about that, I mean, that could be another
yeah,
journal prompt,
right,
right? What
right,
things, again, a list of what are some of the things in this world that you love so much that you would miss? And
right.
I tried to be very specific and
Yes.
almost domestic. Like, what are the things that I touch that I love that are in my that yeah. So
Yeah, that's one thing that I would love to also, just kind of a tip to tell other poets, if I may, and I love tips. I still love to get tips. I still love to listen to poets and authors and teachers. But one of the tips I would say is when you are talking about specific things, um, to bring about things that, you know, you don't have to sit down and write them all together at one time. Start making a list, even in the book on that page. And in the morning when you get up, it can start with something simple like your cup of coffee or tea. And then just throughout the day, and then in the early, late at night, just jot some details down. Don't try to do it all at one time, you know.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. So I think the whole idea, and it is interesting because I feel like there's kind of two kinds of writing sometimes. One I view as what I call like kind of stallion writing, where you just write everything that's on your mind and on your heart, and you don't stop. It's almost like it's free writing, basically. And and then there's the second kind where you go back in and you dig a little deeper and you add words and you change words and you look at the beginning and ending. And I think so often we miss that first kind of writing because that's where, for me, all the magic happens. My metaphors come then. I feel like yeah, the images change and transform. And I feel like having a journal is really important place to put that kind of writing in there.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. And gosh, I'm seeing so many people log on and saying hello and uh, about inspiration for, teaching themselves. And I even have one of my college friends on. Hi, Denise.
So many friends on. Thank you so much.
So many. Yes. Gosh, this is wonderful, you guys. And if you have any questions, put them in there and we'll try to answer them for you. Um, But we also we're working on another book together, but I can we talk about that? Or I'm not sure. Might as well.
Collaboration, another collaboration.
Um, so we already it's already been sold and we've already written it. It's done. All the revisions are done and we have an illustrator for it. And they're going to be poems of wonder, all about wondrous things, all kinds of things that children, it's a children's book, all kinds of things that children wonder about. And it's going to be out in, is it 23 Georgia? I'm so bad with years. 23? Is that right? Oh, I think Georgia's frozen. Not sure. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I think I'm still on. Oh, so Georgia was, you heard her a couple summers ago. Great. Yeah. We'll wait for just a minute. I think her, somebody, if you would put in a comment if you can still hear me. I hope. So we'll wait till she gets on. Oh, good. You hear me. Hi, Michelle. Hey. So I'll keep talking. So anyway, so that
And
will be out in, oh, there you're back. Good, good,
our
good.
internet issues.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Um, so hey, Bev, and that will be out in 23, I think. Is that right, Georgia? Yeah.
The fall of 23, and it's called Welcome to the Wonder House, and it's illustrated by an amazing illustrator named Deborah Freeman, and she we just saw the illustrations recently, and they're just magical, and I can't wait. And that's another wonderful part of writing a children's book, picture book, is that there's that whole layer of illustration. But the same with this book, even though it's not illustrated, the design process was fascinating. But anyway, yeah, welcome to the Wonder House. And we are in the process of editing, just putting the final touches on poems. So this is a good question by somebody. Do you have to be a writer to journal? Um, I think that, there's I think a lot of people are intimidated by the word writer or poet, but I believe that anybody who puts down words on the page or even thinks in words and will eventually do it is a writer. You don't have to be published to be a writer, right? So it's a way of looking at the world. And I think that it's a way of kind of processing the world. So yeah, that's a wonderful question.
Yeah, I
And
agree. Oh,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Rebecca.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I totally agree. And you don't, everything you just said. And I also wanted to add that my own grandmother and grandfather, in two different ways, journaled. And no way in this world were they even close to being a writer. But my grandmother, I still have pages of her little notebook papers that she would literally, I would call it journaling. And it would be what she did that day and where she went. In fact, one of the pages talks about a little kitchen, what do you call it, in the kitchen sink that you lay down so dishes won't scratch your sink, like a plastic thing. I forget what that's called, a sink protector. Anyway, she talked about that day. Oh, I bought me a new, whatever it was called, sink something, and where she bought it, and that she had picked me up that day. I was very little, and we went out to eat. And anyway, she just journaled. I love having that. I can see certain days what she was feeling, what she did. She might say it was raining. She might say I bought a fresh loaf of bread. We might think those things are not huge, but they are, and especially to the people that you leave it to. So,
And here's a poem written by Rebecca from a field guide that kind of talks about that. And this is one that I've actually journaled from, walked alongside. This is called The Morning of My Choosing. This is the morning of my choosing. I will not cater to calendar or clock, but instead pass time, praising the porch step, the clover, the jangle of chimes, the tree frog. I will notice small things, wise things, ordinary things, while
I'm not sure, but I can't hear you. I'm not sure if it's me or you're
yeah,
there. Now I can hear you. I think you
okay.
went out the last half, maybe. I'm not sure.
Uh-oh. So did you hear the poem? No?
I didn't at the end.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I
This is
don't think
a
so.
really lovely stanza. I will notice small things, wise things, ordinary things, while sending a true and tender prayer into air on this, the morning of my choosing. So it starts out, this is the morning of my choosing. I will not cater to calendar or clock, instead past time, praising the porch step, the clover, the jangle of chimes, the tree frog. I love, again, those small things that you notice. And I love that idea that sometimes, I mean, I've written about this, Rebecca, from your poem, where, you have a choice when you get up in the morning and you can begin to write, and you can make a list of all those small things, wise things, ordinary things into the air, and in your journal, and hopefully it will change your day, but it'll also hopefully create a poem from it. So
Right. And it can actually um, power the way your life goes and your day goes. Because trust me, I mean, I have to do that a lot. I have to look for the small joys a lot, or I can get overpowered, by sadness and depression. And so I have to really look for the small things. Um, and I think when we write them down, they become real. It's kind of like, who was it? Oprah? I don't know if she was the first one, but she had that, she would talk about was it called the vision board or the visionary board? And it would be like, if you see something that you want, you write it down, and that might help to make it come to pass. And I think the more we write down small joys, the more we can feel them. And I personally would also love to to read one of my favorites of George's too. And this one is called Flight. Looking down through an oval window, a bridge over a snaking green river, I imagine the lives below in the miniature houses dotting the fields. A woman stands at a kitchen sink, stares at a bare tree in her small, fenced-in yard. Lying on his bed, a teenage boy traces stories of lost friends in a constellation of ceiling cracks. From his driveway, a man listens to the distant roar of a plane, wishes he could get away. I hear the faint sound of a bird's wings flapping, little bursts of heartbreak. I get chills at the end of that one line, little bursts of heartbreak. It makes me want to cry. And but the reason I love this poem so much, it says, I imagine the lives below. And it talks about the woman at the kitchen sink, and the man in his driveway, the boy on his bed. And I remember when I was young, and I still do this when I take walks. I look inside. Well, I don't peep inside. I just I look at the windows and the lights, and I think, what are they doing? Are they eating dinner? Are they playing a game? Is somebody sad? Are they laughing? Are they dancing? Probably they're, reading or watching TV, but I imagine all these wonderful things or sad things. And I think they're just like me. We share that common bond. I don't know. So,
And I guess I'm trying to again think of a journaling. And a lot of journaling, I think, is whatever comes to you. Like you particularly, you that last line resonated, that last stanza
yes.
resonated with you.
Mhm.
Everybody has their own way of taking in a poem, and sometimes for me, it's the imagery.
Mhm.
And the imagery, meaning the pictures that they bring up for myself.
Mhm.
And, or it could be a line like that. So I think that that's really important, just to know that there's so many different portals, ways into writing. And I think poems can really inspire that. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So one of the things that that we said in the very beginning is that in our introduction was the whole idea that we turn to poetry when in times of need, right? And when our emotions run deep and raw, there's no accident that we read poems at funerals and at weddings, and I think during the pandemic, especially, poetry has taken on a new life, and it's become just people are reading it now. People are writing it, and there's so many groups online, and so it feels like we're part of this conversation now, where people are paying attention to their hearts.
Yeah. And as you say, people are always choosing poems for weddings and funerals and big events. And so, um, I think it's so important. And even if it's not, if you love it, and you guys that are here obviously do, you're going to pass it along to your students or other people that you love. I love, giving like a poem wrapped up, with a tie on it to somebody for a gift. You know, I love that. I would love to know if anybody has, oh my goodness, Mia. Hi, Mia. I would love to
I,
know if anybody has any questions.
I love what somebody
Yeah.
said here. Journaling comes in many forms, and I think that that's true.
Yes.
Even be doodling, sketching,
Yes.
drawing.
Yes.
Oftentimes before I begin a poem, I can just sketch something out to see if I can really see it and to complete the imagery. So absolutely. That's a great comment. Yeah.
That's right.
Questions, or we would love to.
How do you decide when a poem is finished? Hi, Chris. How do you decide when a poem is finished? That's a good question. And I'll answer and then Georgia can answer. Um, Sometimes I don't think you ever really do. Sometimes you just have to finally say, I feel like I've done the best I could, but to be more specific, I feel that it has to wrap up in some way. I have to feel a closing or a closure. And there's just certain lines you can read it over and over and you'll think, no, I feel like I need to go on. I need to go on. But then there's a certain line you say, I feel like that's a stopping point. That's a good, nice, paused stopping point. And I feel like it's got closure.
Yeah, I loved your hand gestures because that's exactly how it feels. It kind of feels like it's like come around. and,
Right.
and yeah, the truth is that sometimes after my poems are published, I want to go in and change words, and I think, oh my goodness, that I could have changed that. So in some ways they aren't ever finished, but you have to declare it. You have to say at some point what
Mhm.
my heart and what's on paper match, and I'm going to send it out into the world, or I'm going to read the world.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, but
Yeah. I like what you said too. At some point you have to declare it finished.
you
You
just
have to declare it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
You're writing this book. Oh my goodness.
Hi, Chris. Yeah.
The editor, Terry, who's wonderful. We
Yes.
kept sending her. I kept sending her.
Well, yeah.
Finally, she would say, "Okay, so I think Friday. I think every." Oh, yeah, that's part of the process. So,
That's right. That's right.
so this is our launch night, and I'm going to do. I
So
just
exciting.
uh, amazing. I can't see comments.
I love to see everybody. Oh, Denise. Um, let's see. I can't see well, I'm seeing some comments, but I'm looking for a question. Does anybody have any questions? Chris George is on, who's a wonderful poet. Her and I have written some poems together. Thank you. Thank you for your congratulations. We appreciate this is a really beautiful book and we're just so proud of it. We really, really are. We're just very, very, very proud of it. Thank you. There she is. She's back on now.
Back. I'm sorry. I
Um,
was trying
so
to very fancy by putting hearts and just celebrating our new book. And here I'm going to do this. There we go. It's a sparkle. It's like a sparkle thing.
Oh, I'm so glad. I wish I knew how to do that. I don't.
Congratulations, Rebecca. Go on for
Georgia. Let's see if there's any more questions. I'm looking, but it's hard to, not very good at, let's see. We got that one. Thank you guys for saying you can't wait to read it.
what was your first inspiration to write poems? And
Oh,
I
see that.
assume you mean just from the very beginning as poets, or for this book. What was your first inspiration to write poems?
You're asking me?
I'm,
Oh,
I'm kind of thinking about it too. Yeah, go ahead.
okay. First inspiration to write poems ever, like in life?
Yes,
Ever.
I think so. Poems.
You know, I don't really know because I was about probably 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there. And I don't really remember, except I know in school I was writing poems sometimes when I should have been listening to the teacher, and I was already writing poems, and usually it was about Vietnam or a crush on a boy. That's the truth.
I think for me it was just I had a little lock diary. You remember the kind with the lock?
Yes, we both. I had a pink one with a gold scroll and a key. What color was yours?
I think it was. I think, and
Yeah.
maybe just I think it was kind of padded. Do you know?
Yes, they were padded.
Polka dots on it. And I
Oh,
remember just, I love to lock up my words. And, I didn't want, I have three sisters and I was like, no, this is my, I would just lock it away. So I think for me, it was just kind of just putting my feelings down,
right,
when,
right. Yeah.
I was an adolescent. Yeah. And I also wrote birthday poems to everybody in my family. So
Yeah, I did that too. So yeah, it was just getting your feelings out. And okay, so somebody says, what did you enjoy most? Emma, what did you enjoy most about the process of creating this book? Hmm. I would say I think the friendship that we were already friends for years and years, but the friendship of being not maybe being able to talk more, but almost in a way we were forced because we were working on this to talk more and share words more and lines and ideas, and I loved that part of it. Just that companionship.
yeah, I love the collaboration also. I think that was really, I think especially during that time of COVID when we did feel so isolated and so,
Right,
and,
right.
I mean, just walking in the grocery store. I mean, everybody was very suspicious of each other. And I just felt like I needed, just to share words with somebody that was truthful. And,
Yeah.
it didn't start out as a book, right? It started
No,
out writing poems and then it emerged, which is how most books start, I think.
right,
That
right.
right. And then they they start to kind of form into I think something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we actually laid out all the poems and put them into sections and decided, what poems were about love and what poems could give the reader comfort
Mm.
and then hope and and loss, but sometimes they intermingled, and so we would try to figure out where they fit. Um,
Yeah. And
Somebody asks, I'm sorry, what would you want the book, if you could put into one sentence or one word, what would you want the book to do or be? What would it be? One sentence or one word. What would you want the book to do? I think um, have readers read it and know that sometimes they're not alone and that sometimes how they feel is how we feel. Yeah, we share that. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that, that poetry keep us company. And I hope that this book or
Yeah.
some not all of the poems necessarily will do that for everyone, but some
Right.
keep you company. And also inspire your own words, your own voice, your own poems. And I think that's so important to be in conversation with other poets and other poems. So
That's right. And along that line, I've got to read the last poem in the book, which is yours, because seriously, what you just said invites this poem to be read. It's called An Invitation for Words. Treat them like a guest in your own home. Tell them to make themselves, I'm sorry, it's house. Let me start over. Treat them like a guest in your own house. Tell them to make themselves at home. Light a candle. Leave the door unlocked and the porch light on.
thank you. And I do feel like that we have to be really kind to ourselves when we write. Sometimes we can be harsh and critical, but that's when we write, especially when we're journaling, it's just to accept whatever comes, what words come. And that kind of acceptance, that's where, for me, that's where the real writing happens. If I'm too self-conscious, trying to, make things too beautiful in the beginning, I really want these beautiful words. Sometimes I get self-conscious. So just
Right.
accept, leave the porch light on at all times and invite your words.
Let the words be at
So,
home. Let them come in if they want. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that tonight we have a book giveaway or a couple of book giveaways, and I'm not even sure how that actually works on Instagram, but I hope that some of you entered the book giveaway so that you can have a chance to to win. I think there was a field guide and also my other book that Plumleaf um,
The
published,
woman
which
in
is
the
which is a book of, it's an anthology of poems by women.
Another
So
beautiful
I
book. Beautiful book.
thank you. It's, yeah, these are just gorgeous. And so, yeah, I think that, that I don't know when we're going to do that, but Sophia, I think you did, Rebecca, or maybe we both did. I think you might be freezing. I don't know if people are still there.
Here, I'll just pop in. I think that's my cue to come back on and kind of announce the giveaway winners and all that. But we'll wait for Rebecca and see if she joins back in. Okay, I'll just invite her again. But honestly, that was great. Can I just say that I loved hearing you guys read each other's poems, as I'm sure everybody else did too.
It's so
But
much
so good.
other people's poems, right? That you,
Exactly.
yeah, it really is.
Hmm. And you have sticky notes all over
Hello.
your field guide?
Hi.
Oh,
I do.
it's back. Perfect.
I don't know what happened. Everything was freezing and then all of a sudden it was gone. So, okay, we're back.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess now it's time to announce the winners of our 3 giveaway prizes. And I hope you're all as excited as we are. Thanks to everybody who entered and commented why you love journaling or poetry. We liked reading through all your comments, and it's good to know that you guys enjoy that as well. The following winners were all selected through a random number generator for fairness, and we'll also be in contact with the 3 of you after this event. So without further ado, our first winner, who will be receiving a copy of A Field Guide to the Heart, is Bookaholic Becca. So congratulations, Bookaholic
Oh,
Becca, our first winner. Congratulations.
okay.
And
Great. Congratulations.
yeah, it's exciting. And our next prize winner, who will also be receiving a copy of A Field Guide to the Heart, is Bev Gallagher 7. That's the username.
Oh, yeah.
Bev Gallagher 7. I saw
One.
earlier in the chat. Bev was here. So yeah, congratulations.
Good.
And hope you enjoy your new book. And lastly, we have the grand prize to give away. So this winner, as Georgia mentioned, will be receiving a copy of A Field Guide to the Heart, as well as a copy of The Woman in This Poem. So the winner of this prize is, drumroll, Michelle Kruger 108.
Oh, Michelle.
I think I saw
Great.
Michelle in the comments. So congratulations, Michelle. It's very exciting. And congratulations to all of our winners. We're so excited for you guys to have copies of these wonderful books. So yeah, and thanks to everybody who also participated in the contest. So we'll be in contact with the three of you in the next day or two.
I was just going to say, keep your ears open. I'm sure in the near future we'll probably have some more books to give away.
Yeah, and if you didn't, we also want to mention that A Field Guide to the Heart is available to purchase on our website, plumleafpress.com, at Indigo or select indie bookstores. So you can always order your own copy.
That's great. And thank you all for coming tonight. And it's been really wonderful. I love looking at your comments and your emojis and all the hearts coming up. And yeah, and it's been fun to be in conversation with Becca. So
yeah, you too.
And
it was just
woo-woo, cheers.
It was, yeah, we're so excited, and we're so excited to share it with you guys. It was great to see all your names rolling up.
Yeah, thanks for everybody tuned in, and thank you, Georgia and Becca, for taking the time to do this tonight, and congratulations on your new book. It's great. So,
thank you.
And Plum,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Lottie.
Okay, that's it.
Bye.
That's it. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.